he was the MVP on Marcel, playing the exact same way. He didn't let that get into his head that, man, these guys picked me off every single time I went forward. And Dez was talking about it too when he said about just what he hears from people when people are being negative on him, when you don't let that stuff get into. And that's another little pillar and another little aspect that these teams, especially in the playoffs, need to kind of get over. And I want to say both of these teams, Lyon, Leviatán, I'm sure they've heard their fair share of negative criticisms about them, the restructuring that they've gone in through the weeks in here. Here, right now, this game, this series is where you have to focus, where your head has to be at if you want to continue on. And having that better mental fortitude is going to help decide who moves forward and who does not.
Right away, respect Ben on the Kufra.
100% respect Ben. I was gonna say that this is not the first time we've seen them face each other, right? We've seen them face each other earlier in the best of 5 where Lyon got the better of the Leviatán in a 3-1, and that was the day Raquel was the MVP and like kind of making sure he gets a place in the MVP of the week. So if you're Lyon, the confidence is booming, especially after the Kufra being banned out from the side of Leviatán. That's a respect pick coming straight off the bat. So you know for a fact Lyon are treading slightly on dangerous waters right now, but at the same time they are with confidence playing this series, especially that this will be the second time that they face Leviatán, and the first series that they beat them were quick games nonetheless, 14 minutes, 13 minutes, and even the last game, the third game they lost out, which was a 17-minute game dragged on by Leviatán, but even then that was a mistake made by Lyon which they capitalized on, and final game being another 15-minute game. So yes, I think if you're Lyon, you're coming into this with confidence and knowing what you can do to Leviatán as you already beaten them before. But yes, this time changes made. Promise, who's usually EX villain in the roam position, and also Wumpy coming in, or Wampy, and that carry, I know I see that Private because that's such a contested pick between these two teams.
We've just left open Zushin and Boxia right now, so we got Boxia going to be answered immediately by Lyon. I'm assuming Zushin will be
Harley
the answer. I'm sorry?
Harley left open too.
Yeah, well, it depends on how it has been up here in the north. Harley, I don't want to say is going to be one of the hot button items for it, especially against the Boxia, who has like that built-in magic defense, who can close the distance possibly on Harley. Zushin, immediate pickup for the side of Leviatán. So we're going to see if Lyon's going to have what they have in store to be able to close the distance, be able to get to that back line, because Zushin is just an offensive force. And while I do talk about South letting it through, I still feel it is ban worthy, no matter, because even the games I see, it's just like, was it worth it? Was the effort you had to put in to shut down that Zushin worth it? The sweat and the tears that you had to do for that game.
Look at that pressure.
Yep. So with the Basha comfort pick for Bernoulli, and then we have Hilda with the early game. I think that's what's happening, right? Hilda, somebody pick up Hilda, the other team pick up Khalid. It's just like a thing now. Who in the early game would have a more of an advantage at this point?
Lyon, 100% Lyon, with the Boxia being present, right? The Hilda, Boxia, and Zetian, a lot of poke is there. Boxia can rotate much faster, although the kill pressure is there on the side of Leviatán with this Jushin that can still dish down the Lantern and get a couple of kills in the early game. But yes, okay, I'm not a fan of the R-Lot, but I think still Leviatán, that mid duo, looking to fight for river control alongside Leon's mid duo, so it's going to come down a lot to the mid duo.
I mean, it's a lot of displacement that you have for your team. You've got the Lantern that comes out from Zushin. You've got the final slash from Arlots, and then you've got a stun potential from Khalid. So there's a lot of setting potential, a lot of answers when it comes to setting and how do we start a fight that comes out from a Leviatán. The only problem is, I mean, I guess the harassment in the early game, the Khalid doesn't really have a target unless he's going to be able to kind of, we're really focusing on the Zeshion. He's definitely not going to be able to harass Boxia too much. It'll be very interesting here, and then especially as the stuns come out, as the Zeshion comes out with her ult. I think where and when will Zushin be in her combo? Have we already ulted? Have we already flickered? Are we going to be able to find those types of escapes? The biggest problem is being able to close the distance on the back line to try to clamor up a Zushin, because you cannot just let her spray on that damage and that CC for your team. Now we're about to edge out of the second banning phase from both of these teams. See Yuzong and Phoveus taking off the side for Leviathans, and Joy and Leomore taking off on the side of Lyon.
I'm just liking the way the draft is going. I'm trying to see how and what they can build around here, because they've already got their jungle on the side of Leon. The Granger looking so good right now for Leviathan, because they can kite what the box you can bring in, they can kite what the Hilda can do, and a lot of pokes already present on the side of Leviathan. But I think again, maybe that Sky Piercer having one or two in this case, I don't mind, because it's with the Jushin, and still you have a lot of protection for this Granger to play around, and we know how good ISO can be on this Granger. It was a staple at one point, and the Terizla again in this series being picked up though by Leon. They're still lacking so much damage, if you ask me. They have the poke from the Hilda as well as the Zetian. They have the set potential coming in from this Terizla. They need to find the finishing blow, and YSS is not it, in my opinion. It's good, but you're looking to have much more of a consistent, like slow-paced game if you're Leon, which has been their play style for the better part of the MCT. On the other hand, Leviathan can blitz. They get a couple of kills and they're looking unstoppable. So they got a lot of poke on their side, more control, I believe, in the game in these turtle pits as well. So Leviathan can go tank jungle, they can go damage, it doesn't matter. Suyo's an option, they can go for the Fredrin even at this point. It all works out. They have a lot more options that can maximize the potential of this Granger as well as the Jushin.
I was going to say Suyo, yes. Fredrin, no. I think the Terizla would have been a counter for Fredrin. Let me get that out first before we discuss this Fanny pick coming out from Leviathan. Looks like, is that going to be Woompy? Is going to be the jungler for?
Yep.
All right. Hey, I can't say yes or no. Woompy might be the greatest Fanny we have ever seen in our lives.
Well,
I don't think we've seen a Fanny, have we?
No, we have
We've
not.
never seen a Fanny in MCT.
I have.
Crazy. The crazy kind of game style that these two teams has right now. One is very, very offensive and aggressive, and then the other one is trying to keep it stable, less fast-paced. So it's really gonna be exciting to see how this works, and what a great way to debut, you know, in the MCT with a Fanny. That's gonna be spicy.
And I want to say not an intense amount of CC that's coming out from the side of Lyon. So, I mean, a great opportunity for Fanny to be able to get a victory here. But ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be our second series of the night. Lyon taking on Leviathan. Both of these teams fighting for their survival in the opening of the AMER South playoffs, or the AMER North playoffs. I'm sorry.
Private, you can see a lot of damage on Raquel already, forcing the flicker in the early parts of the game. And this is what you were talking about, right? Yes, you can counter the Jushin, but is it worth the effort? Is it worth fighting tooth and nail just to counter that one pick, just so you can get the victory? In my opinion, no, it's not. But you can see on the bot side a lot of pressure.
Oh yeah, Hayase actually gonna have to get himself out of harm's way, now driven down to about 25%. Ooh, but talking to Fanny, you can see Whoopi in the midst of a fight is able to get away. You can see that on the mini map. The little zooming of those cables from Whoopi was able to find an escape. And this is the thing too. You have to put all this effort into being able to get into that back line to shut down Yato on the Zushin, and you're gonna have to be competing with the Fanny. The big thing though the biggest problem for me, though, sometimes when it comes to a Fanny, is that purple buff. She's a huge target. If they can take away that purple buff, you take away, I want to say, 60% of her offense.
Yeah, and I think that's going to come down to how they're going to be able to translate after the first turtle. So Leon looking to get that one, getting into a better position, I'd say. And Whoopi, this Fanny could be absolutely genius or great, or it could be a big whiff come out on their side, if you ask me, because we haven't seen a Fanny so far in MCT North. It's a debut pick indeed. And for a reason, because it's so risky, right, in this current meta. But it works wonders if it is allowed the space to get to that point where you can dish out the damage.
Ooh, Promise gets locked onto by Raquel, who does not finish the combo coming out from Hilda, but it is going to force, I was going to say, it was going to force Promise back. No, he decides against it. It's just going to be able to use that sand healing to bring himself back to waiting on this turtle that neither team has seemed like they're going to start just yet.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna start it, it's got to be Bernoulli on this box. But Whoopi.
Oh, Leonhardt's gonna have to use that flicker to get away. Bethlehem at the bottom in trouble, gets dragged down by Raquel. That's gonna be the first blood going over to Leon to set up this first turtle.
Yeah, the Tortoise's Poissons used to slow him down. Bethlehem not having that flicker really softening the blow for Leon.
Ooh, Yato able to actually pick up the turtle there. Bethlehem, Bernoulli in trouble, gets taken out by Whoopi. Now trying to chase down Hayase. Pull him back, put some damage on. Is that going to be enough? Comes in on Promise, but taking a lot of tower shot there. Yato in trouble. They might have bit off a little more than they could chew, but down goes Hayase. Now locking on the POVs. We have to use that flicker to get away from Leviatán. 1 and 2, and what an aggressive start.
Yeah, an aggressive start that Leviatán really wanted. This is what they needed with this Fanny, with this Jushin. Now you got 2 picks. You can see the amount of damage that they've dealt. All 3 on top coming in from Leviatán, and Leon don't really have a lot of answers. They like playing this slow-paced game, but the problem with the slow-paced game is what if the game kind of gets away from you? What happens then? Oh my God, a final slash just pushing out Pav and making sure he gets that point of view that where you get that gray screen too. Leviatán slowly started to rack up and 2.5k ahead already.
Yeah, I want to say there's a great amount of synergy coming from there. I don't really feel like I felt when I saw Stamina, where a lot of people were having issues. Not everybody was at the same place. I feel like the shot calling's on call. All of these guys are on the same wavelength when it comes. Raquel, ooh, nice little penalty zone does come out there, followed up by the stun. Whoopi in trouble, gets taken down. Yato's gonna have to use his ultimate to get himself out of harm's way. Meanwhile, Bethlehem might be in a little bit of trouble as they try to lay on some of the suppressive fire. Down goes POV as Promise healing up underneath his tower. Looks like Leon trying to disengage. In comes a Raging Sandstorm onto Hayase, trying to keep the damage up. Is it going to be enough? And Hayase able to turn it around onto Bethlehem. A reply on the side of Leon in the form of a Promise. Whoopi comes in here. It is 3-5 right now. Leviatán still with the lead.
So fast around the map, right? The way that Leviatán are moving, Promise is present, and so does Whoopi. Whoopi actually died and just came back into the fight in that moment, and it could have looked a little more dire if you're Leon, because the way that Leviatán are moving, they're playing aggressive as much as they can and trying to extend this goal lead even further and push back Leon to a point where they can't really make a comeback. And Leonhardt right now taking a lot of damage from Promise, and Leviatán have control of this pit, but they don't want to get the turtle started because they have a Fanny who can have cross map plays instead.
Yeah, and that's going to be Raquel actually in a little bit of trouble here. A little bit of a hello there from Bethlehem underneath the tower. Speaking of which, underneath the tower, Leonhardt gets taken out by Promise, and just to back them up, a little bit of stuns coming down there, not able to help on the side of Leon. Still ignoring this turtle who's just kind of sitting there wondering, hey guys, is anybody gonna plan on getting me just yet? Both teams, I feel like, are not as confident in their ability to hold an objective, rather would try to catch out Leon fighting back.
I know, it's like one of the few times where we've seen the turtle just not contested. Nobody wants the turtle. He's just hanging around by itself. Oh, but Hayase.
Yeah, checking the wrong bush is going to have to flicker away. That's going to be a spell he's not going to have for the next objective. So especially a penalty zone combined with a flicker is just so useful. Now you can see already Whoopi sees that, is going to go ahead and start up on that turtle.
And gets it at the right time as well, where the next one can't really spawn. It's just converted into a lord right now, 7 minutes into the game. ISO needs to start racking up some kills. He already has one that Sky Piercer is going to start showing. Yato is taking control of this river. Bernoulli can't really walk up into a bush without getting spotted out or without getting picked up. And you can see that displacement that we spoke about earlier in the drafts is starting to show. That final slash, that lantern flare is too much for them to deal with. Now the bot side as well, they're collapsing.
Yeah, a great job there by Promise to go ahead and stand in front of ISO, tank a lot of that damage, give ISO a decent amount of room to go ahead and get off that Rhapsody. Raquel coming in against 4 members here, just a little bit of a hello there. He's given up to Leviathan, but I feel like more and more as this game goes on, we're at about a 3K gold lead for Leviathan. It's starting to slip away from Lyon. Leviathan just keep on building up that snowball, getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Now looking to put some damage onto that bottom tower.
I think with the mobility that they have, they should be able to get a lot more done on the map. They're able to get tier 1 on the top side, but the mid lane, final slash already used.
Yeah, looking for an opportunity right now is a Leviathan. Ooh, actually got caught. Whoopi underneath the tower finds Leonard, but a fight over at mid. Raging Sandstorm comes out. Is that going to be enough? You can see the suppressive fire coming out there from the Granger. ISO trying to take them down, trying to keep that distance up, and finds a kill onto Bernoulli. That is going to be 8-3 in favor of Leviathan.
Even gets a Malefic Roar in his pocket, right, for ISO. So now he's going to be piercing through whatever armor that Leon are building. We're talking about Raquel. We're talking about Hayase, Bernoulli. They're the tankier members of the team, and they're going to be taking a lot of damage now. And 5 members of Leon, or rather Leviathan, on the top 6 of the damage charts. It's not looking good if you're Leon. You want to start racking up the damage much faster. Otherwise, you're basically inviting Leviathan into your base. You're absorbing a lot of pressure, and that's not yielding any sort of results.
I mean, speaking of which, Promise in a little bit of trouble here, looking for an escape. Out come the stuns. Are we going to be able to capitalize on that from the flank? Oh, final slash comes out, takes POV to the side. Bernoulli gets caught. Bethlehem trying to find the disengaged. Neither team very confident in trying to take this Lord just yet. But I was going to say that there's a big pressure, big shoes to fill from Whoopi, but he seems to be doing all right, especially with something as drastic as a Fanny pickup in the first game. He's not getting caught too much. 2-1-1 right now. He's able to get a lot of these objectives. He was able to get a push at the bottom to get a tower as well. Ooh. And now we have an engagement. Bernoulli gets a pick up, and ISO finds the killing blow. That's going to be a jungler down for the side of Lyon. Leviathan find themselves with a huge amount of room to take this next Lord.
Yeah, no retribution coming in from Lyon, so that means their Leviathan are free to pick up this Lord. And I think Lyon really having a hard time right now. You can see already a lot of pressure being piled on. Again, it's all coming down to this Jushin.
Yeah, and this is the pressure I was talking about. Being able to try, not only are you worried about trying to close the distance onto that Zushin, but now you're worried about a Fanny. And also in the back line, you've got ISO, who is blasting away at your team.
And Bethlehem in the front just trying to use the final slash whenever he gets the opportunity. Doesn't matter if you're full HP or if he's by himself. I mean, that skill's got about a 15-second cooldown anyway. And the Leviathan are just abusing the factor of all those spells, and they got all their spells online. I think Bethlehem is looking for a play.
Yeah, they're looking to find themselves an angle. Oh, a beautiful little final slash there comes out from Hayase, who might be in trouble. He's going to have to use that flicker to get out of harm's way. In from the flank comes Whoopi, tries to put on the damage as ISO cleans up a kill onto Bernoulli. That's going to be 1 down, the jungler down 4 to side of Lyon as the Lord crashing up at top. Leviathan go ahead, put that pressure onto the high ground tower of Lyon, but decide to disengage instead to take out the tier 2 tower at at mid. Only high ground towers left for Lyon at the 11-minute mark. Leviatán have not finished, flickering over. You can see a big ult coming out from the side of Leviatán, but turning it around, in comes the cables from Leviatán. Wolfie finds a kill on a POV. ISO able to take down the tower and finds a kill onto Hayase. The rest of Lyon reeling, trying to clean up these minions.
Yeah, and the worst part, they don't have the best wave clear once Pav has gone out of there. That's kind of the only wave clear they have with a Jushin, slight bit of range. I mean, the rest, Wumpy's just coming at the right time, able to get the cleanup after a lot of the heavy lifting is done by ISO, by Yato, by Promise, even Bethlehem to a certain extent, and now you can see another. Oh.
Yeah, that might be a little bit of the frustration coming out of Lyon there, trying to go in alone as Leviatán pick him apart. Now, a lot of pressure coming on to the mid-high ground tower. Only one more. Final Slash comes out. Raquel takes a heap of damage, and all the damage going on to this team. 3 down for the side of Lyon as the rest of Leviatán juggle the aggro and find their first victory.
Well, that was a game where Leviatán kind of showing that it doesn't matter that you beat us in the previous series. Now we're here to play. It's playoffs time and we're locked in.
Locked in they are. And then also with the 2 new addition to the roster, Leviatán is looking like the champions that they should be. That game, what a great way to start off the series. Very, very entertaining for the viewers, I'm pretty sure. How do we do there, the new Django? How do we like him so far?
I want to say that when I first saw the rosters come out at the very beginning of the season, and I saw Leviatán's original roster, this is how I thought that they would be performing here, and it was absolutely fluid. They understood where their strengths were. I get a little wheezy when I see a Fanny out there because I'm just like, takes a lot to do this correctly. But you also had the threat of the Zushin out there. The ISO came online very, very quickly, and then as Kronos was talking about, you had the Final Slash in the front as a huge threat for your team. I mean, this was just a perfectly played game here by Leviatán.
Well played indeed. I mean, everything went right for them, right? 12 minutes, 14-second game. They're quick. They just after the Holy Shield popped off as well, 14 seconds. Not like that it mattered. They found one opportunity and they just pounced on it. A lot of damage, equally distributed, I'd say, in this game. And ISO 800, I think if not him, definitely it's got to be either Promise or Yato on the MVP. Yato, I mean, just because it's a Jushin, can't really, you would kind of expect that kind of a performance, but Promise coming into this lineup from I believe it was an EXP laner transitioning into a roam as well, and now able to play this Khalid so well, just allowing a lot of the damage dealers to dish out the damage and absorbing a lot of damage to give ISO the space or Yato the space to play the game that they like. Leviatán really well played, and not just that, not allowing Lyon to play their own slow-paced game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to come in as an XP laner to play a roam position, I feel like Khalid is probably one of the better offers you could take to be aggressive here. You see just how well he was able to kind of latch on to a lot of these heroes, continually put on the pressure and the damage, and then you don't even have to go home because you've got the healing sands to be able to keep you up. And not only that, but you just allowed ISO to get farmed up so quickly, and all the damage that he was able to dish out here. I mean, there's so many different people that this could go to. I'm actually curious to see where the MVP actually comes as we take a look at the rest of these highlights.
Yeah, and I think at this point you can see this is the final blow, right? The way that the Sky Piercer started stacking up for ISO, I think what, about 50 stacks? It was absolutely insane. And the MVP, hey man, I called it. It's got to be Promise.
Okay, we have a new player coming in, and what a great way to show up with a MVP win on their team.
I mean, that's the exact start that I wanted to see from this team if you're going to be successful. A lot of talk, especially coming from me personally, when it comes to seeing a juggled around roster and yes, Promise. I know him. I know he can play well. I've seen him before in North America and a lot of different teams. My problem is the synergy when it comes to these teams. But you'd think that these guys were playing together for years without break. I mean, they have been playing together for years, but it's just how much a synergy these guys had with each other. You could tell that they were